Happy Thursday. Welcome to IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook, got Justin Wells, got Ian Boyd. We were thinking that this show would look a little bit different today, but weather has moved practice inside for the Longhorns. For some reason, we're all wearing green. We didn't coordinate that one, but we still have plenty to talk about when it comes to Texas Longhorns football, including how good Arch Manning can be in the RPO game, and plus what some Longhorns who participated in Pro Day had to say about their future teammates. So we got all that. But if you're here, make sure you head over to InsideTexas.com. It's our spring practice sale. You can get 4 months of access for just $1. Read all the stuff Ian writes. Read all the recruiting insight Justin provides. Both of those things are on Inside Texas this morning. So make sure you head over there and check it out. Yeah, just St. Patrick's Day was last week. I don't know what we were thinking. Maybe we confused opening day with St. Patrick's Day to all put on our green. Ian, you and I are the only ones in Austin.
Why are you lying? Listen, he's acting like he didn't set this up. He's like, guys, let's do this thing today where we all wear green. And we're like, okay. And Ian's like, well, I only have this light green because my dog's trying to kill the neighbor. And then Joe's like, well, I got this shade of green that looks like the Dallas Stars, so let's just rock it today. Hey, it is opening day.
It is opening day.
We're going to get to see with our eyes practice. We will have a report soon. We do get stickball on the television, and, buddy, that's a good thing any day.
AR, is it 8:30-25 yet? Man, I wish. We're getting close. I'm thinking that's going to be a number 1 versus 2 matchup. We'll see. I got something coming on Inside Texas, a little bit about that. Andrew Boldane, Hook 'em Baby, love you guys. This time of year is always awesome. This time of year is always great to listen to you guys and get a nice workout in. Sailor Joe, what's going on? And Chris, of course, thank you. Ian,
I love thinking that people are getting swole while they're listening to us. That's always a pleasant thought.
I used to be a motivational music only person when working out, and now
I am still that way.
Now I need a podcast. I need something to get me through like 45 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Alexander and I have been listening to more and more on these long drives we take. Less music, more talk, and it's been complete. It's been very interesting.
So one of the here we go. What's the top story? Just getting back into keeping up with all the news for the offseason. Well, there's this guy at quarterback for Texas. Wears number 16. His uncles are Peyton and Eli Manning. His dad is Cooper Manning, and his grandfather's Archie Manning. His name's Arch. You may have heard of him, and he's about to be the starting quarterback for the Longhorns this upcoming season. Over the past few weeks, I feel like we've definitely broken down a lot of the different aspects of the offense and what Arch Manning may be able to do with it. But there's a certain aspect, Ian, that you broke down today that Steve Sarkisian has made use of dating back to when he got back into the college game in 2019. He's made use of it at Texas, and we'll see how he makes use of it with Arch Manning this upcoming year. And that is the
RPO, run pass option. The RPO, that's where most people kind of know what this is by now because it's been around in football for a while. But on an RPO, actually, I think a lot of people still don't know what the RPO is because I think people think it's when the quarterback runs. It's not when the quarterback runs. An RPO is when the quarterback gets the ball. He holds it here for the running back, and he's reading the defense to see if they're covering the run or if they're covering the routes that his receivers are running. And if he sees them stay back on the receivers, he just hands it to the running back. And if he sees them running down to stop the run, he'll pull the ball back out and throw the ball into the vacated space. Yeah, and I love that y'all got a picture of him practicing it the other day. So it was fresh in the queue to pull it. That's exactly what he's practicing here. You can see him looking down the field while he's handing off so that he can pull it and throw it if the read is there. Or maybe it's a drill and it's predetermined, but that's what they're practicing. Joe, you're muted.
Golly, you had mentioned sometimes people think this involves quarterback run, and it definitely does. I think Texas fans' first real introduction with RPOs. Again, there was some with Sterling Gilbert and Shane Buechele way back in 2016.
Yeah, a
But
lot.
but Justin, the RPOs, I think a lot of people remember because it was a staple of that offense. Included Sam Ellinger kind of in that touchdown play, reading the goal line and seeing whether to throw to the 4 on one side, the 1 on the other, or just to run up the middle.
Yeah, I was almost wanting to say he crossed over with Gilbert, but that was the year after. Actually, Gilbert recruited him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we started seeing Shane start really dabbling in that more and more. But then obviously it changed a little bit with Herman. But yeah, I mean, Sam became good at it. He was kind of tricky about it. He was constantly paying attention, and so it's something. But I got to tell you, watching clips of Arch, it's natural. I think for a lot of quarterbacks, it's almost mechanical. Rigid in some ways because you're really trying to mimic something. With Arch, it feels like he's done that since he's came out the womb. Like it's just a natural progression of how his body movement. It's similar to, I remember how Brett Favre always took the play fake and really sold that play fake. Arch is doing that with every rep. And I think when it comes to RPO, that's what's going to make him so special. It's not just because he's big and strong and has a great arm. It's because he thinks fast. He's prepared to think fast and react fast. And I think that's why he's fit for this offense, or one of the reasons.
So Joe, we can note, just to make it real confusing, you can run an RPO where instead of it being a handoff or a throw, there's no running back, and it's a throw, or the quarterback runs it himself behind like a lead blocker or something.
I thought you were going to say zone read for a second.
Or you could run a zone read where the quarterback has a pass option and a throw option and a handoff option.
Didn't Vince do some little bit of that?
No,
it was way too complex.
Yeah. So here's a good thing to jump off with. RPO with Quinn Ian seems like it was just a PO. What your background on where Texas is starting from this point kind of says that wasn't always the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think there's a little bit of truth to that.
Okay.
And a lot of the examples I have below, when Arch Manning, I have all the examples in this article are Arch Manning playing for Quinn because Quinn is hurt, and so he's executing the Quinn Ewers playbook. And a lot of the RPOs were. They did have some run options, and they had some with Quinn where they ran the ball quite a bit because teams got so afraid of the pass option that they just run the ball, and we'll hope we can stop. Like Oklahoma sold out to stop the pass, and that's partly why Texas ran them over. A lot of those Trey Weisner runs were RPOs, but a lot of the RPOs for Quinn Ewers were absolutely like quick game passes where the run blocking was almost just to distract and hold defenders so that he could make pass reads on the perimeter and know that none of the linebackers or safeties were going to get involved out there because they were too busy stopping the run. Joe.
Golly, it is just killing me today. We have you've got a few clips, and I think a lot of people who watch us are familiar with Ezekiel's wheel. And this is a little bit of a callback to it. But here's an example of one of the RPOs you can see from the condensed formation. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit better.
Good.
There we go. All right. So here's your caption. This one looks like Ezekiel's wheel, which is
not worth explaining.
You go ahead and explain, and I'll track where the guys are supposed to go.
Okay. They have two versions of the play. They have two tight ends in the backfield. Sometimes one of them is not a tight end, but whatever. There are two guys lined up like tight ends, and both in this case, they both happen to be tight ends. It's Gunnar Helm on top, Juan Davis on bottom. And Gunnar Helm will run to the backside of the play on a flat route, and Juan Davis is going to come across the formation. And you don't know if he's going to block the backside end or if he's also going to release into the flat. And then the receiver runs a route depending on the play. In this case, the receiver is going to run a quick stick route where he just runs like 5 yards-ish and finds open space. Gunnar Helm is going to run a quick flat, just like straight down the line at the 30-yard line, it looks like, more or less. And Davis is going to come across a block. And Quinn and Arch, in this case, Arch's read is – I actually don't know how the run read works in this. I know there is a run read. Maybe it's just if the linebacker starts widening out at the snap, he just hands off. But after a quick glance there, he's going to read to see if they actually even cover the flat route by Helm. And if they do cover the flat route by Helm, then the stick route is open. So, like, if anybody remembers the no-look pass that Quinn made last year, it was on this play where he looked to the flat, saw the guy running, and then didn't even look and flicked the stick
Matthew
route.
Golden.
Yeah.
All right, so
go ahead.
I'll press play in just a second. Let me see. Here we go. All right, here we are. So the play is going to go to the top of the screen, correct?
That's correct. So can you do it again? I don't know if I can tell the flat defender. Go ahead. But pause it. Yeah. So you see the guy that's right next to Golden? Yes. He's the flat defender. And he's staying inside because he's worried about the run or he's worried about Juan Davis coming across. And no one covers Gunnar Helm. So it's just immediate throw. Try to do something similar to this in flag football. And
I love it.
It was garbage. It's in the trash. I'm never doing it again.
And Ian, one important thing here is, like, this isn't rewriting football. Like, this route combination, stick flat is very common, correct? Like, this is a very basic two-man thing that old offenses have just to read that guy, and you throw to where he isn't.
Sark was throwing this at BYU in the 80s. Exactly. Yeah.
So then we'll go on to this one. Gotta like the confidence to throw the bubble when it's there on 3rd and short rather than playing safe and handing it off. Quick timing is essential here to get the ball out before the defensive backs can hawk on it. So you got, let's see. Actually, this is a funky formation.
The tight end is at the top.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
No, there's another wrinkle to it.
Really?
It's tackle over. See,
really?
because when it comes back, you'll see just Hayden Connor and Jake Majors right there.
Oh, you're right. The tight end and the tight end and both tackles are on top, and there's nobody on the bottom except the receivers.
So you've got the threat of a lot of people on one top of the screen.
Yeah.
And then space on the bottom of the screen. And then it's just a numbers game. You know, you've got 1, 2, I think that's 3, 4. We'll see. But that guy's not.
Third.
Go ahead.
It's a late third. It's a late third guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And 3 versus 3, that's the read. You take that throw each time. Or almost every time. But still, that's Ian. I think this is a good chance to explain maybe what fake RPOs are, because we've seen those. I think Quinn definitely had some in his first couple years. Whenever they played Malik and in backup duty, like emergency backup duty, they had some. And even Arch, I think, had a couple during his time. But what are, in the context of like this offense, what are fake RPOs?
A fake RPO, you might actually, the next example might be good for that. What's the next?
Wouldn't it look something like a play action?
No, not this one.
Okay.
Fake RPO is where your guys are run blocking. Go to the next one. I think the next one is.
I'll get to the next one in just a second. Before we keep going, though, we do have to hit a quick ad break, and that comes.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
That comes from Academy Sports and Outdoors. There we go. Man, it is Thursday. All right, Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm sorry, everybody.
Days like this, the anticipation's half the fun. The call to adventure. Possibilities in every direction.
Look at that.
The stories you'll bring back, even the true ones. And already, you can't wait until next time. From first catch to biggest catch of the season, this is where it starts. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there.
Yeah, I'm missing all my clicks, but we'll be good. We'll be good. All right, let's get back to it. A lot going on here. Looks like this is the guy he's reading, or either of these off-ball linebackers.
It's like the same, only they had these nasty bubble screens where everybody's in tight, and then they all start blocking and running laterally. So you have to defend the bubble screen on the run. But the next one, this is the one everybody remembers. Isaiah Bond gets outside and scores.
Oh yeah,
he runs 200 miles an hour or whatever. Hit the next one though.
Let's relive the fun stuff real quick. 28-7, and I think this was important too because you see 28-7 early in the third. This game's going a certain way, but they're still running some full playbook stuff for them. So boom, 2 lead blockers, and then Isaiah Bond is fast. But the next one, you said, this one's a more advanced one. All right, let's see. Which one is this?
This is probably the most impressive throw of any of them.
All right, so we got regular O-line, 12 personnel. I think that's Helm hiding there, maybe another tight end. That's Juan Davis. I think that's Jonte, and I think that's, who knows?
Golden
DeAndre Moore.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that's Jarek in the background, and I've got AR. He called it. That's what this one is. So let's see it. Boom. So here's how you here's how you okay, you know what? One of those days. Here's how you described it. There's a lot going on underneath with the run play with duo. But what is he reading when he's looking at this play?
So I don't know if they were ever going to run the ball here. This is probably what you would call a fake RPO, where you're running a run play. Your line is run blocking. They are truly run blocking, but you're not actually going to run it. They made the decision in practice when they installed the play, or maybe at the line of scrimmage, they made the decision, we're going to throw this because they're in man coverage. So then he just reads the flat defender again in the corner to see, he sees they're in man and just fires it up for Jonte Cook one-on-one. And he knows he's got space to get open in the corner of the end zone.
He sized up a two-way go really nicely there. And I think, when you talk about fade balls, I think the coaching point is to hit the pylons, and obviously it's a little bit short, but this is still a phenomenal throw. Like one of the things that you're looking for.
He made some really good throws to Jonte Cook in particular last year.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we can.
Maybe his best throws were to Cook and to DeAndre Moore.
So this ad is beautiful, but here's an important thing that you bring up. Finally, here's a few RPO tosses off of counter or gap schemes that function like play action. And Ian, this will be important.
That's what I meant earlier about play action, but go ahead.
Well, this will be important this year because of what we anticipate the offense to look like a little bit more.
Yeah, expect more counter and gap schemes this year from the run game. That'll have all kinds of implications we'll get into as the offseason progresses. But this one, it's a normal counter play. The guard pulls for the edge. The tight end pulls to lead block behind him. But they have that probably DeAndre Moore in motion at top. So he runs to the other side, and then the defender on the bottom that's like right on the Bevo logo, he's going to see him run out there, and he's like, that's my guy now. I got to go cover him. So he's going to go chase him. But as a result of him chasing and the run coming downhill at the linebackers, there's going to be nobody to cover the slant because the corner's like 10 yards off.
All right, so let's get this going. DeAndre Moore in motion. Ryan Wingo off to the races.
Arch sees the flat defender racing and committing to the flat. And it's like, okay, slant's open. Done.
This guy, right?
That guy right there.
So he's following DeAndre Moore.
You can tell
he goes right under the 45.
You can tell when Arch makes his decision. He's looking right there. Sees it. Yanks the ball from the running back and zips it in.
One more time, just for fun.
You see how fast the decision has to be in real time. It's like read the defender's leverage.
That's what I was talking about earlier. You can't. There's no time to hesitate for that to work properly.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I think is worth noting here that we know is a key part of the Sarkisian offense is like even simple motion like this can change a lot for defenses. Like,
that's what he does it for, I believe, too.
So look, I think Moore was like right here, and you'll see these linebackers, these second level guys. I think this is a star or a nickel, move over just a little bit, and he's thinking, okay, I got to get outside. I got boom right behind him.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's stuff that is that simple.
I feel like we saw Arkansas do that to Kobe Black last year too. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but I feel like when Kobe came into Fayetteville for a few drives, that we saw him get popped. I want to say it was Arkansas last year. Kobe got kind of busted on that too.
It's one of those things where you have to adjust your position, but you can't adjust your anticipation at the same time.
One false step, and that dude's in another direction.
So here's another one. This one doesn't have the motion, slant, flat, and wide spaces. So let's see, the run action holding defenders in the box. So this is the flat defender, right?
Yeah.
Manned up on, I guess that's Wingo.
Yeah. So Wingo, this is the same play they scored on against Georgia with DeAndre Moore. Wingo is going to start to block that guy like it's a quick bubble screen, but then he's just going to release on the slant really fast.
And a key, let's see. This is it looks like a too high shell because that's a corner, I think, safety, and then that's a corner. So against Georgia, they were rotating their single high safeties, but this kind of shows that this same play works against two high shells, especially if you can fool this guy right here.
I think they may rotate into single high here, but you are correct anyway. We'll see. I mean, I'm not actually sure. Oh yeah, I think you're right. That's more of a.
Oh no, there was a guy back there. There he was.
There he was.
Need the all 22.
Yeah.
But still, even no matter what the coverage is behind it, unless there's a guy dropped in like right there,
yeah,
that's that guy. Usually that guy is dropped down there, but they have so much respect for these two receivers that they have to drape two right there. Leaves a lot of space. And then this guy leaves his space.
Because of the run.
They immediately lose leverage because of the run.
Yeah.
And the thing is that linebacker is still doing his job. Like I'm sure.
Yeah, you're like picking your poison at that stage.
I'm sure his key is, let's see, who pulls on this one? Okay, guard and tight end. So this guy sees a guard and a tight end go, and he's like, unless I want to give up an 85-yard run, I need to get over here, which is correct. Like that's football.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, there's Ryan Wingo right behind you, boom, or whoever that is. No, that's Wingo. Yeah. So like
a lingo and a prayer.
That's what makes, as you can, it's a read of the flat defender.
Ian simplifies all this stuff so well, it makes me feel smart. That's what you got to come to InsideTexas.com right now, because really he does make the spectacular very simplified for guys like me.
I did see
guys like my flag football team.
Exactly. I'm on that level.
No, you're higher than that level. We didn't even have the RPO read. We could not hit the flat route to save our lives.
So I like this is a good question from Sailor Joe. Going back to what you're saying, can see an RPO where there's no halfback and instead you have a lead blocker. This is basically the Wildcat, like the classic Wildcat where you had a running back and a fullback and you would just direct snap it to them. Ian, it feels like there's personnel reasons why you might not just declare this so blatantly.
Well, you got to run Arch to do that.
Yeah, he has to be a threat.
I don't know if Washington, for all his size, is actually a good blocker yet. I kind of think maybe that's still a year away.
I think Washington might be too big for that.
Yeah, 268 is a lot. I don't know how.
I don't think he's 268.
I hope not. But somebody that was there, RT or Connor was there, and they were like, he does look a little big. So
he's thick. He is thick, but they're not going to let him turn into an offensive tackle. And don't forget, that kid plays a lot of basketball in the offseason, and there's nothing better than shredding pounds and then running up down the court. He might be close, but he's not 270 pounds.
You know who used to do stuff like this that was nasty was
Jeff Swain.
Kansas State with Jake Waters. And then they had one of the lesser Gronks as a fullback.
Yep.
And then everybody else would be spread. So it's like a 4-wide formation. And then they'd have like a throw outside and then a quarterback draw. And then Jake Waters would kind of tiptoe up to the line and then go like this. And Gronk, instead of lead blocking, would just run down the middle of the field. And he would pull up and throw it to Gronk. They had all kinds of garbage like that. If you ever want to trigger PTSD in an Oklahoma Sooners fan, that's a well you can draw from.
So the reason that, yes, there is an RPO like this, but you are removing some of your threats, in my opinion. So if you have Arch and Washington, you have Arch and then a lead blocker right there, someone who's not a threat to take a handoff. You already are
giving away the hand.
Yeah. You're removing options for you. Whereas if you have Arch and you have Jarrett Gibson, who did some lead blocking type stuff in spades last year. If you keep him in the backfield, you can still run that, a power with Arch, or you can still have Arch pass it to the outside, or you can have him hand it off, and you can have defenders thinking about this. But if you put Jordan Washington's not getting a handoff, especially if you line him up in a certain way, and maybe you have we're going to, run the ball right over you mentality that you're not going to stop us. But we saw maybe that wasn't what Texas game was last year. And
can you imagine Jaquindon Jackson in that role?
I know Tom Herman could.
Man, that would have been beautiful.
At the end, they had a play that would be more like what you're talking about, Joe, where they would have like a normal 3-wide formation for Sam Ehlinger. And then they would have a tight end and a normal tight end spot blocking. And then Ehlinger would go like he was handing off on inside zone for the 30th time of the game. But then he'd pull it and the running back would lead block on the backside and Ehlinger would run it. And it became like a double lead block power for Ehlinger with 3 receivers removed. They used to mix that in like a couple times a game and wreck people, except Iowa State. It didn't work against Iowa State.
The Arch touchdown run against A&M was kind of that. They had 2 guys in the backfield, but one of them was Juan Davis, who
one of them completely missed his block.
Yeah, who whiffed on his block.
I think that was zone read, right?
It was a quick read if it was zone read.
I was going to say, who was the tailback?
Wisner.
It was a fake zone read.
Wisner?
Yeah.
Fake zone read.
Maybe.
I'm not saying that that's not something they can do, but you're hamstringing yourself a little bit by just not putting a handoff option back there.
Absolutely.
But I do agree with this. Get a fullback. If you have 85 scholarships, and even with the house case, the roster limit's 105. The SEC says it's 85 for scholarships. You've got room for one fullback on your roster, in my opinion.
I say bring the tush push to college football. Bring it back.
Yes. 100%.
Because Philadelphia has found a loophole, and I don't even know if Texas has the hogs to do that.
I was about to say, does Jason Kelsey have any eligibility left?
Well,
They didn't have Kelsey this year. Is still, I think it's Jalen Hurts. That dude just can't be stopped.
Jalen Hurts. It's Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, who both have cans the size of a rack of pigs. So, like, the bigger you are, the more this is going to work. But I don't think Texas doesn't need that. The fact that Manning's going to be a threat, he won't be the threat he was running last year because obviously they're going to throw the ball more. But just him just being a threat maybe 3 or 4 times a game is what's going to make all of this, in my opinion, work.
He ran sneak for touchdowns 2 or 3 times last year. Manning did. I would 100% do that all the time.
The only time,
really,
yeah, he had
100%. You would do that. Did y'all not learn from Colt McCoy, David Ash?
That was wide. That was a sweep.
Colt McCoy went straight into the line against Kansas State. He tried to dive over the freaking line in power and got popped.
Colt McCoy was like,
I'm not talking about Colt McCoy against Alabama. I'm talking about against Kansas State his freshman year.
I know.
Running him on that stupid sneak. And what happened? He wound up screwing up. They didn't win the Big 12 because of that play call.
Unless Troy Polamalu is on the opposing defense, the collisions at quarterback sneak aren't enough to scare me on that front.
Boy, buddy.
Colt McCoy was like 185 pounds when that happened, though.
Yeah, you're right. And no. There's definitely Arch has a size differential. You're right. I'm not a proponent of him running that much. I don't think anybody is outside of. I guarantee you, Cooper and those guys aren't.
I'm just talking about tush push on the goal line.
Yeah. No, I know.
They're not going to run sneak every play,
No, I know. They wouldn't do that. Now, granted, if it's a national championship, a conference championship, you do that kind of stuff. But when ULM comes to town, come on, fellas.
Just turn it into a rugby game.
Yeah, scrum.
A scrum?
Yeah, I remember I got to hit an ad real quick, but I'll make this really fast too. There was some like Madden video where they do crazy things. It's like, if I ran quarterback sneak every play, how many games can I win? And it was like 2 and 14. It was, it's efficient, but
Kegs and eggs would do.
Yeah, it's fun. We'll keep going. One more ad to hit, and that is Andre the Lawyer.
This video is brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the Lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the Lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
We'll get one more quick little Colt reminiscing. I was at this game. I very vividly remember, how old was I then? 12. Being at this game. This was 12-7, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
I was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colt didn't have a whole lot of business being on the field.
No.
Then again, the referees had no business taking away a Lima Swede touchdown in the corner off a phantom push-off. It just wasn't meant to be that day.
Number one targeting fan, Justin Wells, probably would have argued that was targeting.
You talking about the late hit
Yeah.
on Colt?
Yeah.
It would have been an unsportsmanlike conduct type deal. I'm anti-targeting. I love it. I live for that stuff. It sustains me. But no, that would have been because he was out of the play, and A&M was directly doing that to hurt him intentionally. And of course, he's going out there with a lame duck shoulder. You know what that game told me? Jevin Sneed was never going to play again because Jevin Sneed was healthy, and Jevin Sneed looked really good against Kansas State. What was it, 2 weeks before? It was the game before. They brought Sneed in when Colt went down, and Sneed looked really solid. And I thought, okay, that might be your best chance to beat A&M. Matt Brown said, nah, bro, we're going to throw out the guy that can't throw a football right now with his right arm. Oh, so Texas loses. Thanks, Matt.
Just to reminisce more on –
and they couldn't tackle Christian Michael.
Yeah. They couldn't defend the option. They kept killing.
Yeah. Third downs were killing them too. Stephen McGee kept extending drives with these little 3 and 4 yard clouds of dust, and Stephen McGee played his butt off.
He did. Also, that's the game where I gave up on Henry Melton as a short yardage back. Because he kept dancing, and it was like
diving for a pylon. Yeah.
If you do not put your head down on this next play.
Funny enough, he goes over to the defensive line and turns into an NFL dude.
Yeah, and then he was
imagine how that works.
Yep.
It's hard for me not to acknowledge that Texas had 4 turnovers that game. Also,
it probably would have been better if Colt was throwing with his left hand because that shoulder was attached.
Oh man, did you know what was Jevin Sneed's stat line? Rest in peace for sure. But do you remember what his
against
stat line
K-State?
was? No, against A&M in 12.
Well, he only threw the ball like 2 or 3 times.
Jevin Sneed or Colt McCoy? Who are we talking about?
No, it was when Colt got knocked out late.
Sneed against A&M.
They brought Sneed in, and he had 3 plays to go 80 yards or something.
Sneed was 0 for 1 with 1 interception.
Yeah, like Sneed was put in a no-win. Sneed was basically, I think he brought in on a 3rd or 4th when he went down, when Colt went down, and he had to chunk it 30 or 40 yards just to get. Yeah, like Sneed was in a no-win situation there. If Jevin Sneed starts that game, Texas wins the Big 12 in 2006.
I was at that game with my friend Ben. He had this girl he liked that was going to Texas A&M. And after that game, just that long walk down the ramps from the upper deck, we're making that walk, and she texts him like some kind of taunting text message. And he was like, I'm never talking to her again. It's over.
And that's when sending a text message costs per character too.
Yes. And I was terrible. I was with an ex-girlfriend at the time, and some of her family were A&M guys. And she's like, okay, now we're going to go over to their tailgate. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I am not going and hanging out after I want to go home, and I want to go drink.
Ian, to your point, Henry Melton 1 carry for 0 yards. So
it was like it felt like 7 carries for -2 yards.
Instead of talking about the 2006 Longhorns, let's talk about the 2025 Longhorns. And one of the cool things about Pro Day, you can get 15 perspectives or double-digit perspectives from guys who are heading to the NFL about what they think about the guys that are coming up behind them. And so one of the things I always like to ask about is, all right, who's up next? You know, who you got coming up? And I got a good amount of answers on Tuesday. We can go through each one. Isaiah Bond, who was very, very complimentary of his time at Texas, really appreciated everything that he was able to get out of the Longhorn program. Appreciated his year in Austin, and appreciated being able to play for Coach Sark. Said they're always going to have great guys, but he obviously highlighted Ryan Wingo and DeAndre Moore. Everybody's kind of aware of that one. But Aaron Butler was someone who caught his eye. And Justin, this is someone who, considering, at least slightly on the depth chart, what's the right way of putting this? Aaron Butler could fit in a lot of different spots this upcoming spring and fall.
Yeah, and that I think his main spot's going to be under the radar receiver who the other team doesn't focus on, and he winds up getting behind somebody and scores early. Look, Aaron Butler was like the X factor for the scout team in 2024. you want to give some of the success of the Texas program last year, Aaron Butler gets a little bit of that credit because he did some great things for the scout team. Quarterback, running back, receiver. Aaron Butler is a tremendously twitchy guy who is building up some collateral with this UT staff over the last year and a half. This guy has done everything you could have asked him to. You know, people are really worried about receiver this year, and for good reason. There's just not a lot of experience outside of DeAndre Moore and Ryan Wingo. Aaron Butler's going to be a guy that you think, well, who's going to be the guy who can? He's going to slide in. He's going to make a few plays, and all of a sudden, he's going to start getting attention. He's going to start, increasing his reps. Look, the staff loves Aaron Butler. The locker room loves this kid. I feel like we've been mentioning him at least every few weeks for the last year because that's all we would hear about is how well he would look in practice and on scout team. That usually translates to the field usually pretty sooner than later. I think in this whole room where they're going to try to figure out the best pieces and the best combinations, Aaron Butler's name is going to be mentioned multiple times. I can't wait to see when he gets his opportunity this year on the field because he's gonna see the field this year.
Could he be a returner?
No, I think they've got that done. They've got somebody. Who else? They've got somebody else doing that.
I think
Ryan Niblett. Ryan Niblett's going to be doing that. I don't know if he's a return guy type guy. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if he's that type. Ryan Niblett is more of your return guy type.
I also think athletically for sure.
Yes.
Punt, maybe they put Butler on kickoff, but I think on punt, I think you want someone back there who has done this a lot, and you have to get reps at some point.
I don't think there's many on the roster that have done it a lot, Joe.
I mean, that's why it could be unidentified portal receiver, or it could be DeAndre Moore. DeAndre Moore got a lot of kick return reps.
He did. But I'm going to put my money on Ryan Niblett right now.
I like that.
I know that we've heard that's where he's. That might be Ryan Niblett's going to probably try to pull off the Silas Bolden this year, where you can be a kick returner, punt returner, and maybe even get you a few routes.
This is a good one. One of the things that happens with this question is they say everybody, as you can expect. That's kind of what
that's the political answer that Texas teaches them to say. Jake Majors is the king of that.
But obviously, there's
who's standing out? 84 players.
There's a lot of respect on this roster for number 5, and that number 5, Ian, is now Trey Wisner.
Yeah, I like this bit about how he was injured last year at times and still playing. It's just, if anybody didn't properly appreciate him last year for just how gritty and Johnny on the spot he was for saving that season.
Tougher than a Brillo pad.
I think that was, Sark had a good one on that one. I had to look up what that one was. I usually get a bunch of Sark's references, but I missed that one.
That's some grandparents level stuff. Got to get that Brillo pad out to scrub that. Yeah, that's some rough stuff. That's like washing with lava soap.
That's what they use for the Code Red and A Few Good Men.
Again, a reference I barely get. So
A Few
I
Good Men.
I get it. I know you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Do we need Cedric? Do we need Cedric Baxter on that wall? I think with the transition to a few more gap schemes is going to come really, really at a great time for Baxter.
Yes,
Ian, your homework assignment is to go watch Cedric Baxter's high school tape and to see just how well this guy can excel in gap schemes.
How about I'm going to come back with Christian Clark high school tape, because it sounds like Clark's rehab is going a lot better, and I kind of think he's more talented. I think he's the most talented guy anyway.
Really?
So I'm kind of curious to see if, like, the surprise of the offseason is that Christian Clark takes over that room.
I think Cedric Baxter still has a way to go. They think he'll be healthy for Ohio State, but that's about a year. And
that's not that strong of an. We think we're pretty sure he'll be ready by Ohio State. Is not. This guy's ready to go run for 1,000 yards.
they'll take however
I think he's going to be ready to go for 1,000 yards.
I hope so.
We'll look at so Gunnar Helm, young room, but very explosive, got some experience. Jordan Washington's going to be really good. Spencer Shannon, at this point, there's a tight end. We kind of anticipate that these two, Justin, are going to be the ones getting most of the snaps, at least in the spring, at the top two tight end spots.
Yeah, those are going to be your two guys there for the spring. Will Randall of the Isidore Newman Randalls, he's going to be in that rotation as well. Amari Winston, he's going to get a little bit of run just because out of necessity. But again, and we've said this even before spring, there's a chance they go in the portal for another tight end because you want experience. Like I don't think people understand how valuable Jatavian Sanders for 2 years and then Gunnar Helm for over 2 years was. But I mean especially in the last few years, like how essential, because they love 12 personnel. They love having kind of those dual guys that can do a little bit of everything. I think they go to the portal. I do think they bring in another guy, the right guy, but everything I'm told is Jordan Washington. If Washington gets the opportunity to solidify himself as the starter and earns it, I think that's the guy.
I love the damning with faint praise, though. Shannon is going to be really good, from what I've heard, developed like heck, i.e., when I saw him, not very good, but I hear he's good now. That's basically what he's implying.
To be fair, guys like Helm, they haven't been with the team. They've been doing their own thing, so they haven't been able to watch the reps, but I do understand what you mean.
Well, and to be fair, Spencer Shannon was a baseball player until 2.5 years ago. This is not, his body is starting to fill out more and more into a college football level guy. This guy was thinking college baseball up until his freshman, sophomore year in high school. Mm. And his little brother's also a tight end at modern day, Owen Shannon. Not near as big or as athletic.
Silas Bolden hit all the same guys, DeAndre Moore, Aaron Butler, added Parker Livingston. But this took, when you hear Silas, who got only 1 year with Texas, say this, I feel like they're all going to excel this year, especially with Arch at quarterback. I feel like they're going to do some great things. That's what we were just talking about. Ian or Justin, I think you mentioned this. He mentions everybody guy is Jake Majors, but there was one very, very key part. Neto, we've been waiting on Neto, and I think he's going to have a great year. From that 7-man O-line class, Kelvin Banks is gone. Cam Williams is gone. You've got Campbell, who's a starter, Hudson, who's going to be a starter, Robertson, who's competing for a job. But
I'm shocked Majors didn't name the whole line. I mean, the whole room. Who was that O lineman a few years ago in the early 2010s that would just give you the most base political answers? And Jake's better than that. What was his name? He was from, I don't think Lake Travis, but Taylor something. Taylor Doyle?
Before my time.
Taylor Doyle would give the most blank. You'd see him come in for media availability and you wouldn't even ask him a question because it was like he was running for office. It would be the most bland vanilla. It would take the sugar out of vanilla of an answer. And so, I love Jake, but Jake's always going to back up his guys.
But I just thought it was interesting to hear that, Goosby's played, Campbell's played, Hudson's played. Looking forward to seeing Kojo have a good time, Connor Robert. But it said Neto. Usually, you're always praising your guys, and he did.
There's some backhanded to that, but it's meant in good faith. Jake has earned the right to say these kind of things. Neto did not take this personally. Now you're going to have Joe Fan go, "Oh, I can't believe you would take a shot." No, Jake's a leader. That's what Jake's done his whole life. He's just setting you straight. And I guarantee you everything he said to you guys in the media, he said to Neto Umeozulu 24 times.
We got a little bit of Vernon Broughton, and I need to maybe start coming off my Travis Shaw over Cole Brevard take. And I've had a lot of reason to come off of it, but now Vernon Broughton.
I'm still with you on that, Joe. I'm not. I saw the 44 on Travis Shaw. Just by the numberology alone, I still think it keeps him up in that upper echelon.
So Vernon Broughton mentioned Cole Brevard and Alex January, and he mentioned that Brevard may be, after this ad, one of the top 3 strongest players on this team. And that's just from a few bowl practices with him way back in ahead of the Peach, the Clemson game in the Cotton Bowl. So I'm starting to come around to the idea that Cole Brevard may be DT1 alongside Alex January instead of Travis Shaw. And then let's see, Barron Sorrell, who I think has among Longhorns, at least on, you have Matthew Golden, you have Jahdae Barron, you have Kelvin Banks, who've done everything great and solidified first-round status, which is no easy task. But I think Barron Sorrell may have had the best pre-draft process out of a lot of these guys by succeeding at the Senior Bowl, by proving, some versatility at the Combine, and then having a good pro day. And he's excited to see, we usually this answers about young guys, but Sorrell was talking about Ethan Burke and about how it's his turn to take that jack spot, Ian, and make the most of it.
Yep. Sounds like might be Landon Jackson too that's next in line. You notice that Vosick was like 239 on the roster. I don't know if he's like slimming down to play Buck. I don't know if he's slimming down because he hasn't been able to lift. If it was just a typo and he's actually 250.
I don't think Vosick's ever been that big though.
He's always been a guy though that we thought was going to end up like 6'5", 270. And I think he was a lot heavier last year.
He was, yeah. 239 is a little surprised. I'm skeptical of some of these weights.
Yeah.
Because part of it makes me think that this was like right after the season, but we'll see if that holds true, and we'll see whenever we got 4 months till the next update, whenever summer comes around. But yeah, one of the few older guys, and this is a guy I'm about to write about. I'm about to go in and talk about. And before we get to talking a little bit about Jelani, there was a question. What's up with the Raptor? That's Derek Williams. Can't see the value of Gilbo at corner being more than Jelani at nickel with the Raptor at safety. We'll see how long it takes for Derek Williams to get back, because remember he got hurt in the Oklahoma game. I think all the guys who've had leg injuries, whether that be Clark, Baxter, Williams, in the casual settings I've seen them, I've never seen them with braces on or anything like that. But Justin, I think what we know about what the process that is still ongoing for Williams, and B, what all the praise we've heard from McDonald is that there's some quality from the new number 4 that we need to be on the lookout for.
The new number 4, that's what I love about when the numbers come out, because it's not just the freshmen to see what number they get. It's the other guys, older guys who like to kind of change theirs. And we saw Wingo grab number 1, Colin Simmons grab number 1. Jelani McDonald's like, I want number 4. People are asked why. Well, that's what he wore in high school. A lot of these guys like to go back to the jerseys they wore in high school. Trey Wisner wore number 5 in high school. There's something about that high school number for a lot of those guys. Jelani McDonald, look, he's going to play some star, but I also think his versatility, he can star in both safety spots. He is going to be able to be so maneuverable in so many different areas, because he does bring that. He has a suddenness about him. He's savvy. He's uber athletic. For Jelani, it was all about learning the position the last 2 years, learning the schemes and his roles and his rules and things of that sort. Because once he got it down, he was going to thrive. It was so obvious. One of the best athletes we've seen Texas take in the last 3 or 4 years. Look, Makuba was that scientist, very smart, very calculated, always in the right spot at the right time. Can you imagine Makuba with Jelani's athleticism? Because it's not the same. Jelani is that next level when it comes to that. And when the game slows down for him, and nothing will teach that man secondary play like the star position. God, Jelani was always bound to thrive. And I love McCubic backing up his guy. Another syntax on syntax love.
When did Derek Williams become the Raptor? What was that?
Oh,
I think it came from high school.
It's what we called him for 3.5 years, Ian.
Why?
If you watched it, why? Okay, so go back and watch Derek Williams Jr. and senior tape. Then go watch Jurassic Park: Fallen Kingdom. You're going to see it's almost identical. They look the same, facial, body wise. They think the same. He's like Blue. Like he's thinking and reacting and killing at the same time. He was that twitchy South Louisiana dog. And that's why they call him the Raptor, because everybody got tired of using the term dog. And
I refuse to watch any of those Jurassic Park sequels.
And I understand that. But that's where it came from, because the Raptor is that the Velociraptor is one of the most dangerous.
I know what the Velociraptor is.
I don't know if you do, because you didn't know who Derek Williams is called Raptor, and we only been writing this for 3.5 years. That kid is he's got that nasty smart twitch to him. Derek healthy completely changes that safety room.
Yeah,
there was a reason he was a starter. There was a reason.
Yeah.
Jelani the other day was at the safety opposite of Michael Taff. And even Michael Taff was very complimentary of him. But I think what Jahdae Barron says here is very true. We've been thinking about who could take on that Barron role and play a variety of roles. And we've been overlooking the idea that maybe not Taff, but Jelani McDonald should be doing that, Ian.
Could be. I mean, I guess Barron is telling us he can. So got to look out for that now.
I'm excited about Jelani, because I think, if I remember correctly, what was he, class of 22? Does that sound right?
And Eric and I had a year-long fight because I kept trying to tell him he was a defensive back, and Eric kept saying he was a linebacker. And it's like, buddy, keep him further away from the line of scrimmage, and he'll do so much more damage.
Class of 23.
I watched him play lineup at corner in high school.
So that
opposite Kobe Black. Nobody threw on Connolly that night. Nobody. And he was the starting quarterback too. And might I add, a pretty damn good quarterback. You seen Jalen Milroe throw the ball? Jelani McDonald throws the football the same way, fellas. That guy can spin it.
Yeah, kind of what you're going on. He was the go win the game position for Connolly, because Connolly, you probably drive by it on 35. It's not a big school. I think it's a 4A school, maybe 5A. But he played go win the game along with Kobe Black. Y'all two go win the game. But during the and
Jamari and Vincent,
the All-American Bowl, I think in 2023 when he was coming out, he played every defensive position. And I know we joked about Jamon Tapp playing that, but like Jelani was actually doing it. He was playing corner
and doing it well.
And we wondered, like, I think we got to catch up with him at the 2023 Texas Relays, which, hey, it's Relays week. We'll be on top of that this week as well. But we checked in with him at the 2023 Relays, and this was, I think, Coach Choate was still there. He's like, what position do they want you at? It's like, I may start at linebacker, but we'll see. I'll play anywhere. And you like that mentality. It felt earnest when he said it. But he was 6'2", about 205 pounds, right around there.
Maybe.
And we're thinking like, okay, maybe he gets to 220 or 225, and then maybe gets up to 230. Instead,
because I think his dad also played linebacker in college for TCU.
But I think what you can give a lot of praise, not just to Jelani and mom and dad for gifting him with some great athleticism, but for also Torrey Becton for kind of figuring out this guy can do a lot of great things at 205. And there are a few guys who have that movement skills at that size. And also now it sounds like the processing ability to play safety, to play star, to be able to play in coverage at a certain level. And I think that's something that is extremely valuable, especially as you're trying to figure out some of the other defensive back positions.
The most exciting part about Jelani to me was I kind of figured he was a DB whenever he came down the lane on a fast break and literally just Liberty Bell just rose up and just punched it on Colleen Ellison. And it's like linebackers don't do that, but really good DBs do. And just Jelani's at every sport, man. That guy played 4 sports. We covered him in 4 sports, and he was great at everything. It only makes sense that he would be great at whatever he does in Austin.
All right. One last thing. I'm trying to play a request from Ian. Returns to the
Is Ian making a request like this is a radio? We're on the on the request lines.
Chris Bennett, I looked up on the roster, and it's Phil Simi.
Phil Sam, yeah.
Phil Simi.
I think he's Haitian. Is where it comes from.
Phil Simi. Haitian. Okay.
All right. Let's see. Yes. Which one do you want me to pull up, Ian?
Scroll down. Nope. You got to go all the way down to wherever Arch runs it.
So this is the question. The Arch touchdown is not zone read. I'm guessing this is about the A&M game.
Yeah, because we were talking about this earlier in the show. So let's settle it once and for all. Yeah, I think it's this.
What are we settling?
Nope, that's not it.
Arch Manning's zone read, because I don't think it's a zone read.
All right. Watch the defensive end.
Ian's about to teach me.
Watch the defensive end on the top.
Hold on.
Not the guy off the ball, but the guy that's squared up on the line of scrimmage.
1 second. I'm trying to get something instead of this. There we go. Okay. Let's try it this way.
Oh, look, he's not blocked. Arch is reading him around the edge. Touchdown.
So who is not blocked? This player?
No, the next guy down.
Him?
No, next one down on the line. He's covered up a little bit.
The nose guard?
No. Look.
Him.
That guy right there. Yes.
But okay, that's a little bit different of a zone read when you're reading the 3 tech.
It's the defensive end.
I thought zone read was reading the edge.
That is the defensive end, because that guy on the guy that Helm is blocking is a defensive back.
It looks like they're playing a 3-3-5 or something.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 star right here. This guy's a corner on Helm. So Helm has to block this guy no matter what.
That's Rylan Kennedy that is unblocked. Number 15, right there. The tight end arcs out, and the tackle skips the end and goes down. Arch reads the end. He steps inside, keeps the ball.
God, Juan Davis. I feel like if Juan would have just put a hat on somebody. You know what was the coolest part of this play, Joe? We were both in the press box when this happened. And how long, what was it, like 3 or 4 seconds after it happened, did we start realizing we think he scored? Because at first they didn't think he got in. They thought he was out of bounds. And then and instantly you see the replay on the teleprompter and, stuff like that. And you're like, I think he scored. And I got to tell you, man, that place.
Goal line extended is a fun rule to remember.
And Arch, you want to see determination? Arch was not getting denied on that play. Arch is like, you know what? I'm getting my name in the newspaper. I'm getting in this box score, buddy.
The first touchdown.
He hadn't had a lot of press, so he needed some of that.
I have an Aggie friend that texted me after that play and was like, I'm not watching any more of this game. I'm done.
I'm very glad that there are some things that are lost to history. Like you can look up a 24-17 game in a box score and wonder like, oh, that's a 1 possession game. We are going to be able to look up 17-7 for the rest of our lives and know that it was not a typical 10-point game.
Not when Texas turned the ball over on the 10-yard line consecutive drives in the third quarter. That would have made it a 4 or 5 possession game. Honestly, I almost felt sorry for Mumu, Coach Mumu.
Thanks for the turd in the punch bowl at the end of this video. Oh, man. With that, I think that's a good 1 hour and 5 minute live show. Ian, what'd y'all talk about on the deep dive that'll be coming out later today?
We took a look at the top 25 or a top 25 that ESPN did recently. Paul wrote about it on the website. And we kind of just went down the list of how wide open things are and how much uncertainty there currently is about who the top teams are going to be in the country next year.
That'll pair pretty nicely with something I'm about to write in that
Nice.
I would not be surprised to see maybe 5 or 6 teams with first place votes whenever the polls come out. I know it's a long way away, but the thought popped into my head and I wanted to make sure I got it on paper or screen soon enough.
Hey, one of the nation's top running backs is headed to campus very soon. He should be there maybe a little bit after lunch. Posted that at InsideTexas.com. Go check it out. He's actually going to be in Austin for 3 days. And so while you're there, why don't you get you a sub? And for 4 months, you can have Inside Texas Premium access. Everything, NFL draft stuff, spring football, recruiting in this window, especially with all the recruits coming to Austin over the next couple months. April 26th for Fan Day coming up. There's so much. Women's basketball is still hooping. The famous Vic Schaefers are still at it. Come see us at InsideTexas.com with the spring practice special, $1 for 4 months. That'll get you into official visit season into June. Get you really kick-started for when recruiting really starts to finalize in July. Come see us at InsideTexas.com.
I don't know if I could have said it any better. So
you could have. I need coffee. You could have definitely have done that. But also, hey, another post is going up a little bit later today. One of the top corners in the country, Texas offered a couple days ago. He's a Michigan commit, Brody Jennings. I was on the phone with that kid for 30 minutes last night. Texas moved the needle. If you want to flip a big-time elite DB out of Florida, that's the guy. Going to have an interview with him going up here in just a bit. Posted a little bit of intel on him earlier. Just come see us. There's too much to even talk about.
Head to InsideTexas.com. Thank you to Academy for sponsoring Academy Sports and Outdoors for sponsoring IT Live. And we'll see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com.